Hello, welcome back to Learn Economia. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic, that is cost benefit analysis. When it comes to cost benefit analysis, this is considered to be a very important and systematic process which is very much particular, especially with respect to businesses, because these businesses would be using the cost benefit analysis in order to take the decisions in their business life. So they will be analyzing the various decisions, and after analyzing the various decisions, they will decide which decision to take and which one to forego. Okay, so the cost benefit analyst, he is a person who would be going for cost benefit analysis, or he would be the one who will be taking up the task of calculating the cost as well as benefit. This person will be summing up the potential rewards that would be expected from a particular situation or action, and then what he does is that he would be subtracting the total cost associated with taking that particular action. So whenever you go for an action, it will be having two sides. One would be the benefit part and the other one would be the cost part. A cost benefit analyst would consider the different benefit parts of the same action, and also he will be considering the different cost part of the same action. He will be assigning numerical value to the benefit, and also he will be assigning numerical value to the cost. Then what is the next step? We will see in detail how cost benefit analysis would be progressing and how this would be made to make a decision and to forgo a decision. Let's proceed and see more. Just consider a situation that a person or a new businessman is going to construct a plant, or an existing businessman is going to expand his plan, or he is going to build a new plant. Okay, so before building a new plant, some prudent managers would conduct a cost benefit analysis. And why this is being done? This is made to understand the potential cost as well as the potential revenues that would be generated from the project. This is to assess, or this is to evaluate the potential cost that would be incurred on the project, and to assess the potential revenue that a company might be generating from the very same project. And what decision to be taken would depend upon these. The outcome of this analysis will be determining whether the businessman should go for the project or to leave it. This is because a cost benefit analysis will be giving us an idea whether the project that we have gone for is financially feasible for the company or not. If it is financially feasible, if it is yes, then the company will take it. If it is no, the company will leave it. That is it. So we could see that cost benefit analysis has been calculated. It could be conducted and calculated by using so many methods. Okay, whatever be the method, it is always better to consider something called opportunity cost also. And what is opportunity cost? It is the next best opportunity that is foregone. So these are alternative benefits that would have been realized when choosing the other alternative. This is the foregone or missed opportunity as a result of a particular decision or a particular choice that you have made. Okay. So what can be the benefits of considering of opportunity cost here? Considering opportunity cost will be helping you to weigh the benefits from alternative costs. You can compare the benefits and the cost that you could be getting with different projects or different courses. And if you are considering an opportunity cost situation, you are not merely considering the current path. You are considering all the options, and also you are considering the foregone opportunities. And this will be helping you to take the best decision. And after considering all the costs and after considering all the potential benefits, what you have to do is that you go for a comparison. You will be having a cost part and a benefit part. Now your duty is to see whether your cost is more than benefit, or your cost is less than benefit, or is it equal to benefit. If the cost part is more than benefit, then you skip that particular thing. Then you skip it. You leave it. You don't take it up. Whereas if the cost is less than the benefit, then you have a chance to take it up. In this case, a rational decision maker will proceed with that particular project. Otherwise, a company would be skipping that particular project. Let's see the process that is involved in the cost benefit analysis. Even though we can have so many methods to go for cost benefit analysis, you have to understand that there is no universally accepted method to consider a cost benefit analysis. It varies from situation to situation. Method varies from situation to situation. But whatever be the case, for every cost benefit analysis, for every method, we will be following some similar steps, some common steps, and that is what we are going to discuss right now. The main important and the primary thing that you have to do here is to identify the project scope. So this means you should first of all identify your situation. You should understand your goals. You should understand some framework so as to mold your scope. So based on this, you have to consider a framework. Okay. And this is the first and the primary state that you are having. And here you will be considering something called a timeline. You will have to consider the resource needed for executing the plan. You should consider the constraints that you will be facing in your path. You have to consider the people who are required to take up this, and also you have to consider evaluation techniques that you have to take in order to proceed with that. Okay. For example, some staffs might be needed, some laborers might be needed. You have to consider all these things, everything, what all are required. What all are required would be considered here. Okay. Now, coming to project scope development phase. At this particular period, you have to identify the key stakeholders and you have to notify them, and also there should be something like providing their input along the process. And you have to understand that whatever you do in the first place or in the first stage will influence your outcome. Okay, so you have to take into consideration everything. Now the second part or the second step is you have to determine the cost involved. And you have to see, whenever you go for cost, you will be having so many costs. It will come in the form of direct cost, where you will be having the labor cost, where you will be having the cost incurred for raw materials. It will also cover your manufacturing expenses. Then you will be having some indirect costs, like the cost that you incur for electricity, rent, etc. Then you will be having some intangible cost of making a decision. And this would be something like the decision and its impact on your customers, your employers, etc. Then, as I have told you, you are considering opportunity cost, the next best alternative that you have forgone with respect to investment, with respect to buying another plant or building a new plant. Here also you have to consider the cost related with the potential risk. And here you go for regulatory risk, competition related risk, environmental impact, etc. So the cost part is okay. You have taken all the possible cost and you go for determination of the cost. How to determine cost, etc. You are going for, you determine it. And when determining cost, what you have to consider is that some expenses are recurring, or it would be occurring again. For example, your variable cost. It is something that would vary with your output, isn't it? And certain other costs are fixed, which you call as fixed cost. And this might be something you will incur one at a time or something, or one time cost. So whenever you go for a cost calculation, you have to find the difference between recurring cost and the fixed cost. Okay, then you can proceed. After considering the cost part, now let's consider the benefit part. And regarding every project, some common benefit would be there. With respect to production, you can have higher revenue and sale from increased production. There can be some intangible benefit as well. So this will be coming from your improvement in your staff safety or something. And also whenever the customer satisfaction increases, that too will be counted as the intangible benefit. And also some competitive advantages too would be covered here. So when it comes to the person who calculates the cost benefit thing, for him, he has to go for something what we call as a monetary measurement. That means he has to express everything in terms of money. That means numbers. So whenever we consider certain things like customer satisfaction, improvement in the employer safety, etc., which is something that is very difficult to get converted into money, special care should be taken so as to avoid something called underestimation and overestimation. You should not underestimate your cost or overestimate your benefit. If such a thing happens, that will be influencing your outcome in a negative manner. Okay, and also another important thing is that the subjective ideas, the subjective thoughts, the subjective tendencies, etc. of the analyst should be kept apart when he comes to measure the cost benefit part. Because if you bring your subjective elements here, that will also make something called overestimation or underestimation. That will also go for a variation in your result, that will again give something called a negative result. So that means whenever you go for a cost benefit analysis, an analyst would be facing or an analyst would be facing a lot many challenges. Okay, and these challenges would be mainly with respect to determining both the explicit and implicit benefits, and also the explicit and implicit cost. Moving to the explicit benefits, this would require some future assumptions as well. Moving to implicit cost, it is also something which is very difficult to calculate because there won't be any single formula to go for that. After going through these stages, the next stage is the analysis calculations. So you might be taking a lot of time to get all the different costs, to get all the different benefits, then to give some numerical values. You might be going for something called proxies. For certain things, you won't be able to get numerical values. For example, your consumer satisfaction, things like that, it is very difficult to go for an exact numerical value for the same. So you might be going for some proxies. Okay, so with that much care, you have computed the analysis calculation. And some of the cost benefit analysis would require some in-depth critiquing as well. And this would include something called application of discount rate. And this is very much required to determine the net present value of the cash flows, the net present value. And also you have to utilize various discount rate which would depend upon various situations. And also it is something that you have to consider. In the very beginning of the session, I told you that you can have different methods to go for cost benefit analysis, and which is the right method that suits your situation, that too should be understood. Then there should be a level setting. Then you have to go for something called sensitivity analysis. Why you are going for this? This is to understand how some slight changes would be affecting your outcome. Now, everything else is set. It is time to go for recommendation and implementation. After performing the cost benefit analysis, you can present your findings to the management. So what you do here is that you just concisely and precisely summarize the cost part. Again, you concisely and precisely summarize the benefit part, and then you go for the net impact. So as I was telling you in the very beginning, you just compare the cost and benefit part. If cost is greater, then you avoid that particular thing. If benefit is more, then you take it. So this is considered to be positive, and this is considered to be negative. This is positive and this is negative. Okay, so whatever be the case, when you go for cost benefit analysis, it's always important to consider that the resources that you have is limited. Whenever you have limited resources, it should be very much important to understand the most effective way so as to use it without wastage. So here you have to understand, you should go for something called minimum wastage. Okay. Having said all these kinds of things, let's see some of the advantages of cost benefit analysis. Cost benefit analysis has got a lot many reasons to consider this. It is something that is related to data. It relies completely on data. Okay, you will be collecting information related to cost, the different costs that you will be incurring. Then you will be collecting information related to benefits part. You will be collecting information related to your challenges. Only after taking all these kinds of things, you will quantify this. You will quantify this information, isn't it? And the result that you obtain is based on the data only. So you can trust it to an extent. And this is something that requires substantial research, isn't it? Because you have to collect all the details with respect to all the different costs, the fixed cost, variable cost, direct cost, indirect cost, opportunity cost, your challenge related cost, etc. And this means that considering some unpredictable cost as well, isn't it? And whenever you go for such an analysis, this would add strength to your conclusion. Okay, now as I was telling you that you would be quantifying certain non-quantifiable metrics. Certain aspects are non-quantifiable, but you are assigning a numerical value to that whenever you go for a cost-benefit analysis. You know that it is very difficult, especially when it comes to assessment, it is very much difficult. So this will be forcing an analyst to consider aspects of the project that are more difficult to measure, isn't it? And based on these, he will be able to go for some decisions that would be very simple and easy. But cost benefit analysis is not free from criticism. It has got a lot many problems. For projects that involve some small to mid-level capital expenditure, we could see that an in-depth cost benefit analysis may be sufficient, but that will lead to some problems. But what about some large projects? For large project, that means this is a project with a long-term time horizon, and here in certain times a cost benefit analysis would be failing to give you a right decision, because you might not be considering all the cost. It is something that is very much complicated, so chances are very high that you miss certain cost while going for cost benefit analysis, and that will influence your outcome negatively. Okay, then one of the benefits of using the net present value for decoding on a project is that it uses something called an alternative rate of return. That also is discounted from the results. When it comes to the forecast that you go for, forecast that you will be doing on the basis of cost benefit analysis, this is something which is based on your revenue, this is something based on your sales, your return, expected cost, future cash flows, etc. Just consider the pros and cons of cost benefit analysis in a crisp manner. Moving to the pros, it requires data. Then it limits to only the purpose determine the initial step of the process, because we need to first of all specify the scope and purpose, and it is based on your scope and purpose that you will be considering and continuing with the cost benefit analysis, and the result that you get would be deeper, and that is based on data. The results that you get would be data driven, and you, based on that, you can go for some reliable findings, and you will be getting some insights based on financial and non-financial outcomes. Moving to the cons, it may be unnecessary, especially when it comes to small projects. For small project, why should you incur some expenditure to carry a cost benefit analysis? That is not required. And also, in order to carry out cost benefit analysis, you require capital, you require money, you require labor, etc. to gather data. And also, it is something that relies hugely on forecasted figures. You have to know that we are living in a world of uncertainty, and that means there is a chance of risk, chance of loss, isn't it? And since we are living in a world of uncertainty, we cannot go for a forecast figure with 100% accuracy. So 100% accurate prediction is impossible in a world of uncertainty and asymmetric information. If you rely completely on the forecasted figures, chances are very high that you might get wrong at times. That will also lead to negative results. Now I'm giving you some questions and let's see how to answer these questions. What are the 5 steps of cost benefit analysis? I've told you that it will deal with so many steps. Like, first of all, you will be setting out your scope, then you go for cost determination, then you will be determining your benefit, then you perform how to calculate your cost and benefit, then you put it together, then you go for the recommendation part. And also you have to see that some slight variations would be there with respect to the model that you will be taking, but it will be having the same steps, but the order might change. Again, what is the main goal of using a cost benefit analysis? Why should we go for that? Because we will be able to compare the cost and benefit part, and based on that we will be taking the decision, isn't it? So when it comes to management leverages, etc., management leverages the findings of cost benefit analysis. Why that is being done? This is done to support whether there are some more benefits to a project, or if it is more detrimental to company, then it will go for a decision based on that. The next question, how do you weigh cost and benefit? As I have told you, we are considering an important systematic method where you assign some numerical value to cost and benefit. That means you are quantifying the cost and benefit part, and then you go for a comparison, isn't it? And an important aspect that you have to consider here is opportunity cost. What are some tools or methods used in cost benefit analysis? It all depends upon the scope of your project, the type of the investment that you are making. Okay, so to give you some idea, a benefit cost ratio, this can be computed, a cost benefit ratio or benefit cost ratio, and this will be summarizing the relationship between your cost and benefit, and based on that you can take a decision. So many other tools are available to carry out this, like regression modeling is there, valuation methods are there, forecasting techniques are there to proceed with the very same thing. Now, what are the costs and benefits of doing a cost benefit analysis? I told you that it is not free from cost. It has got its own inherent cost. And the very same thing with the benefit as well. The main challenge that lies in front of you while going for a cost benefit analysis, that first of all you should understand the potential reward, all the potential reward on all the potential cost. And this is something that is very, very difficult. And that is why you identify a potential downside to this. And this is that various estimates as well as forecasts are required to build cost benefit analysis, and this assumption may prove to be wrong or even biased. In certain cases, that too can happen. Now, the benefits of cost benefit analysis, if done correctly with accurate assumptions, are to provide some good guide for decision making. Because as I told you, it is something that is driven from data, so you can trust it to an extent, but again you have to think that you are living in a world of uncertainty. where nothing can be predicted with 100% accuracy. And again, remember, if the cost benefit analysis of doing a cost benefit analysis is less costly, then you can do it. Otherwise, why should you incur some extra cost to carry out a cost benefit analysis? You have to think and decide. Okay, that's all about today. You can like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos, and you can also be a part of my Telegram channel and Telegram group to discuss your doubts. Thank you for watching. That's it.